Alright guys, Revolve Rustler here, and today I'm here with a very special video. As many of you will be aware, I recently reached the milestone of 100 Platinum Trophies on the PlayStation. I achieved this milestone about a week ago, uh, last Saturday? Last Saturday I think, or last Sunday. And it was quite the journey to get there. I've been platinum in games now realistically like this in this sort of pick a game, go for it, pick a game, go for it since 2021, just the end of 2021. That journey was started by this guy, was started by Cuphead, um, and I never thought I'd get to 100, and now I'm here. It's a very surreal sort of experience. It's very rewarding. I'm very happy with a lot of the games I platinumed, and so I decided to do a Road to 100 Platinums wrap up in two parts. So this is going to be the first part, and this part will cover the games which are 51 all the way up to 75, and then part two will be the games from 76 all the way to 100. Um, a lot of these games are a long time ago. I did a video on my channel called My Platinum Log of 2022, and that ended at 50, and that was in 2022. That was in August 2022. So, some of these games are going to be 2.5 years old, and I'm going to do my best to give you my brief thoughts on those games. And let's see how this goes. I'm not really prepared for this, but this is something I really wanted to do after getting to 100 platinums. I wanted to do a wrap up of my 100 platinum trophies. So this may be more of a video you'll be listening to. Pop it on in the background, and hopefully I'll talk about some great games. However, one thing I do want to show you first is this. So this is my platinum card binder. It is my pride and joy of my game collection. I got many things in this room that I love, but this is special to me because this is mine and it's personal. And inside it, we have these platinum cards which show you a couple of pages. I'm not going to show you any of the newer ones because I don't want to spoil for people who actually haven't looked at the channel, but as you can see, these are made on Ted's Collectibles on Etsy, and they're great. He's really helpful if you've got specific requirements or you've got specific stats. That's what I call it. That you want for your cards, like I have and my friends have, and there's the one which started all Cuphead, and so yeah, this is my pride and joy of my collection. I've never shown this before, and I just wanted to show it, and um, yeah, I guess without further ado, this is going to be a little bit of a weird video. I'm going to try and stay focused. I've got here my list of platinums from 51 onwards. So fingers crossed it's alright. It does look alright. Um, so the 50th game, the last game I talked about in my Platinum Log of 2022 video was Mass Effect. And that was specifically Mass Effect in the Legendary Edition. And I platinumed that on the 31st of July 2022. So this is how far back we're going for these platinums. And the 51st platinum, so the first one of this video, was Multiverses, specifically the PS4 version. Now, Multiverses, which I platinumed on the 10th of August 2022. So only about 10 days later. That's crazy. So Multiverse is released in 2022 in around August time, and I was off work. I only worked during term time, and so I got a lot of Multiverses played. If you don't know what Multiverses is, because you can't play it anymore, Multiverses is a um, kind of Super Smash Brothers battle royale. Well, it's not a battle royale. It's a Super Smash Brothers clone with Warner Brothers characters. So you've got Shaggy, you've got Scooby Doo, You've got Batman, you've got DC characters, you've got Arya Stark and the Iron Giant, who was my main, or Taz, who was also my main. And they were very, very good at adding characters to it. And when the game came out, me and my friends loved it. We played it religiously. I think we ended up putting about 50, 60 hours into it on route to the Platinum. And the Platinum was almost just like a natural thing that happened. But it's an absolutely great game. The combat, the actual fighting mechanics are really good. I really love the move set. Each of the characters, like Shaggy's got a great move set. Ai's got a great move set. The Iron Giant has got a great move set that all takes from their own properties, and it's a great game. I'm very saddened that it didn't take off like it really could have. They were missing some big licenses like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter and things that really could have turned the tide maybe and just piquing people's interest again. But they do have the Powerpuff Girls, which I have not played. I've actually not played Multiverses since I platinumed it, so I really should jump back onto it at some point and give it a little go. I've platinumed the PS4 version, which is a very low earn rate. Oh, crikey. Let's have a quick drink. Yeah, I platinumed the PS4 version, which is a very low earn rate, and the PS5 version is obviously just a little bit higher, just because I guess most people played it on that version. I think the reason I was playing it on PS4 is because my fiance was playing Dragon Age Inquisition downstairs, so I just got thrust upstairs. But yeah, great game. Great game. I really, really enjoyed Multiverses. 52! Another absolutely excellent game that I platinumed on the 28th of August 2022. Another game I platinumed in the summer of 2022. And that was Bloodborne. Bloodborne is the first Dark Souls game I'd ever played, and it is just wonderful. Gothic, horror, really great combat. My only issue with the game, and I've rated this many times, there's too many rampaging beasts. Like, most of the bosses are just big beasts. Like, the reason that Gascoigne and Gehrman and not Mikolash, oh gosh, what's his name? Damn it, I can't remember the one in Cainhurst Castle. Marta Ligarius. The reason that people think they're the best bosses in the main game is because they're not rampaging beasts. Like, there are some good ones, like Vicar Amelia, and there's some that aren't great though at the same time. But the actual combat in Bloodborne's excellent. The world design, Yharnam is a wonderful place to explore. It's one of the earliest great games of the PS4. Like, it came out in 2015. I remember buying it a couple of months after it came out, beating it, just thinking it was grand. And so when I was actually going for the platinum, I just not got two of the endings. And so I went for both the endings. Sorry, I collected the hunter weapons, the hunter tools, and then the chalice dungeons, which were okay. Like, we did it as a trio. The three of us sort of worked together on Bloodborne, and it was okay. Like, the last chalice dungeon was really easy, but the one before that with Amygdala, which I was trying to do with one of my friends, and so the health of the boss like doubled or whatever. Like, yeah, Amygdala was a pain. One hit kills, even when I'm like level 300 or whatever. But yeah, Bloodborne, fantastic game. I've only gone through 2 games in this so far, but Bloodborne is a very easy recommend from me. And then we have 53, platinum number 53, which was another game that we platinumed in as a trio together, me and my two platinum friends. And it was Castle Crashers Remastered. And I loved Castle Crashers back on the Xbox 360. In fact, I loved the game so much that when I bought it and played it on PS4, I wrote a review for it and published that review on my blog, gamingduringlockdown.blogspot.com. Please check it out if you haven't. I really like that review. Castle Crashers is a wonderful sort of beat 'em up with magic elements, and the combat's decent. The music's really good. I really like the style of the knights. I think it could make a great TV show, like a kids' TV show one day. And yeah, I don't have too much to say. Like the platinum for Castle Crashers, I think there's only 13 trophies. But beating the campaign, leveling up your knight to max, I believe, and then there's a mode called Back Off Barbarian, which basically it's like a chess game where you move your piece around to avoid all other pieces, and it's really good. It's a really good mode, but it was a pain getting the trophy for surviving for 2 minutes 30. A real pain. To the point where me and my friend were doing it at the same time in our own worlds, and I got a time of 2 minutes 29 seconds, and I just did not believe I'd be able to get 2:30. Fortunately, a couple of days later, I managed to, and I platinumed Castle Crashers on the 19th of September. So a big jump between that and the 28th of August for Bloodborne. But yeah, another great game. I know I'm just saying all these games are great, but I tend to try and play only great games. 54, Saints Row 4 Re-Elected. This was a game me and my friend Ryan did together. And we did this apparently in October. No, in September. So I platinumed it on the 1st of October 2022. And this was a game I'd kind of just wanted to play because it's kind of a fun, easy game. There's a little bit of grinding, like you got to do all the activities. But if you're in the world with a co-op partner, you can essentially just do half collectibles each almost. I did at one point lose some of my save data for Saints Row 4, which meant I had to go and collect a bunch of data clusters again, which was really annoying. But I did that, collected all the videotapes, did all of the activities like the insurance fraud, which is really fun in Saints Row 4 because of the superpowers. The superpowers obviously make the game really easy, but that's okay. And the story's really funny, and you know, the DLC's dreadful. Me and my friend actually did 100% of Saints Row 4, so we got all 71 trophies, and that included both DLCs, How the Saints Stole Christmas and Enter the Dominatrix, and they were both bad. Really bad DLCs. So, I'd give Saints Row 4 probably like a 7. It is a good game, and an easy enough platinum. Like, anyone can really obtain the platinum for Saints Row 4. And then, very weirdly, I went on a bit of a break. So after October, I didn't earn another platinum until the 11th of February, and I cannot think why. And I'm thinking about Christmas, maybe. Like, what would I have got for Christmas or something like that? No, it was very strange that I didn't earn a platinum for a couple of months, and it was probably the longest I have gone without a platinum in this whole journey, given at least from 50. But that platinum anyway, which was platinum number 55, and it was Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. I had not played Miles Morales yet. This was on the PS5, by the way. I had not played Miles Morales yet, and so I just decided to get back into the hunt. I wanted to play a fairly easy game, and I played Miles Morales. It's much shorter than Spider-Man 1 is, and Spider-Man 2, I can say. It's much shorter than both games are, and it's still a good ride. Like, I actually quite like the more kind of personal story between Finn and Miles. I really like the final boss fight, and I really like the final boss fight music. I like how the whole music in general is catered a bit more towards Miles, like it's a bit more rappy and hip hoppy. But overall, it is just like a lesser version of Spider-Man 2018. I'd probably give it like a 7. Like, a lot of people like 9s and stuff. Like, is there really that much there for you to give it a 9? Like, there is a trophy for beating it on in New Game Plus, and that takes like 3 hours. Like, which kind of shows you how small the story is if you just mainline it. But a 7, it's still a good game, and we will talk about Spider-Man 2 eventually, probably in part 2. 56, we platinumed the game 10 days after Spider-Man on the 21st of February 2023, and it was the Callisto Protocol. So, I really love the original Dead Space now. I've got such an affinity for that game after doing the Platinum journey, kind of the Platinum run through it. And I've also played the remake, which you would know if you've seen my trophy updates. So Callisto Protocol kind of interested me, and I played it, and I actually think it's better than most people think it is. Like, I think it's okay. I quite like the melee combat. I think it feels weighty. I think it feels quite punchy. The guns are relatively shit, though. Like, they're pretty rubbish. There are sections on maximum security difficulty which you've got to play through to get the platinum. You've got to beat the game on the highest difficulty, which are just a nightmare. So they're a pain. And then the only other thing is collectibles, and the collectibles are mostly like kind of in front of you as you're traveling through the very linear game. Um, but it was Callisto Protocol was probably the worst game I've talked about so far. But it was harmless, and it was about 3 days. It took me like about 15 hours maybe to platinum it. You know, retries and maximum security difficulty. I said was a pain. The final boss fight in maximum security difficulty was a nightmare. That was really annoying. And maybe I just not leveled my character properly because like you barely use the melee weapon against him, so that's kind of what I'd focused on. But yeah, I'd say it was okay. It's like a 6 out of 10, to be fair. 57. Hitman Go. Hitman Go Definitive Edition. This was another PS4 game. And this one was the 25th of the 2nd, so this was about 4 days after Callisto Protocol. I think I just wanted. So Hitman Go is one I see a lot in those 30 platinum and 30-day videos. A lot of people tend to talk about Hitman Go. It's a game you can do in a couple of hours, and I decided to do it because I've not done I love Hitman and I've never played it, and I played it and I got it in about 3-4 hours. It's a fun little puzzle game. I like sort of the incentives to play levels again, like collecting the briefcases and free starring levels. Most of the trophies come fairly naturally. There's a couple of specific things like beating like coming out through a trapdoor and dropping a guard for a trapdoor or something like that. But it's so long ago I can barely remember it. But it's a good game. It's a harmless game that you don't really have too much to say. 58. I'll have a quick drink before I talk about the next game. So as you can see now, since Miles Morales, which was 55, we've gone on a bit of a streak because we've gone the 11th of February, 21st of February, and then the 25th of February. And now we jump forward a couple of weeks to the 14th of March with Mafia 2 Definitive Edition. I said this to my friend before. I think Mafia 2 is one of the most perfect stories in gaming. I think it's a wonderful story that has a wonderful beginning, a wonderful middle, a wonderful end. I like all the characters. It's just a great game, a really great story. And I wanted to give the game another go, and so I went for the platinum. And you got to play it on hard, which isn't really that bad. And there's a couple of specific things. You got to collect all the Playboy magazines, all the wanted posters, which we'll get to in a second, and just a couple of things like getting 5 headshots in quick succession, getting kills with every weapon, maybe something like that. You've got to do stuff like not raising the alarm when you're trying to steal the ration stamps, selling all the ration stamps before the timer runs up, things like that. But the worst trophy, very obviously, is the wanted posters. There is 189 wanted posters in Mafia 2, and they are dreadful. They are dreadful collectibles. They are just pictures of 2K Games staff, and there's 189 of them. And I would say in my Mafia 2 playtime, like 7, 8 hours is just collecting wanted posters. You know, that's not great, is it? Like it was the last trophy as well. It was the last trophy. Thank goodness there's a very good collectible um sort of codex in the game. So when I collected the last one and the trophy didn't pop, I was like, oh dear. Went straight into the menu, found the one I was missing, and then found it in the guide I was looking at, and then trophy popped. So yeah, easily the worst part of the game, the wanted posters. And the game, like the gunplay isn't great, the driving isn't great, the story's brilliant, but it really is dragged down by its actual gameplay. To be probably one of the weaker games of this whole list. It's such a great story. Story wise, it's like a 10. I absolutely love it. I love Vito. I love Joe. Um, I love. I really like Goodfellas and films like that. So it leans really heavily into films like that. But yeah, the actual game is more like a 7 out of 10. I'm not trying to rate all these games, but I'm just giving you my initial thoughts and kind of a rating is a very easy way to sort of tell you what I think. 59. This is one that I can be unanimously in love with. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge PS4. Firstly, really bummed out to see they eventually did release a PS5 version because I don't think that was the thing they were going to do. And this platinum came on the 25th of the 3rd, so 11 days after Mafia 2. And Shredder's Revenge is fucking great. It is so good. The beat 'em up combat is so grand. It is a better game than Castle Crashers, even though I've got a lot of reverence for that game. The actual combat, picking up pizzas and doing the special attacks and throwing enemies into the screen is amusing forever. And being different characters, there's not just the 4 Ninja Turtles. There's also April and Casey and Splinter. The boss fights are very good. I actually have a pop vinyl over there, total tangent, of Leatherhead, which I'm hoping to do a video soon, just talking about these things and just giving you guys a bit more content. Just a pickups video. It'd be nice to do. But yeah, Leatherhead, absolutely love him. The boss fights are relatively good. The trophies are mostly really good. Beating arcade mode, beating hard mode, beating Shredder, Super Shredder, without taking damage was essentially a tough trophy that we found a workaround for. And basically, I went into the fight with Shredder. I beat him to where he was nearly dead. I invited my friend, who then joined, killed Shredder, and so he got the trophy for not taking a hit. So we found workarounds for things. It was a very good, natural, fun trophy guide. Very fun game. I'd give it like a 9 out of 10. The only thing we didn't like, well, I didn't. It wasn't too bad, to be honest. The only thing that's a bit grindy is leveling up every character to max. So there's 7 characters. The 4 Turtles, April, Splinter, and Casey. They're all different qualities as well. Like Splinter's garbage. Michelangelo wasn't very good. Casey, April, Leo, and Donnie I all thought were very good. Um, and what's my train of thought? Yeah, so leveling all up to max, you had to get 2,000 points for each one of them, and some scrub enemies would get you 1. So we found ways around it, like we would basically do all the way up in the story mode to um, the final level where there was like collectibles, and we would then plug in 3 other controllers. We'd plug in 3 other controllers, and then we'd give those characters points as well, basically 550 points each. So that was great. That was a good workaround as well. It's a great game. 9 out of 10. It took less than 20 hours. It was so fun. We all planned this game together. The trio of us as well. And yeah, terrific game. Can't say enough good things about Shredder's Revenge. And then number 60, probably the most important game. One of the most important games I've platinumed. Because it was a game that, for a long time, I realistically might not have, and Resident Evil 4 Remake. Resident Evil 4 Remake on PS5 is a tough game, and there is a lot to do. You have to do a lot of playthroughs in RE4 Remake. You have to do your standard playthrough, a standard S plus, a hardcore S plus, a professional playthrough, and you have to do a playthrough with only handguns and knives. You have to do a playthrough without healing. So many things, and all I'm going to say is I did all that, and I'm very proud, and I worked hard, and I only cheated a little bit, and yeah, it's a terrific game. The Resident Evil remake is phenomenal. It is so good. I don't think it quite sort of takes away the original. I think they can very happily both sit side by side. The thing about video game remakes is they don't always have to sort of get rid of the original. Shadow of the Colossus can, because it's better in every single way. Whereas the remake of RE4, there are things that the original does better. And let them both be. Play whichever one you want. No, they are both absolutely exceptional pieces of video game media, though. It's a 10 out of 10. It's absolutely phenomenal. Ashley's improved. Luis is improved. Ada is not, but not everything is perfect. There are some sections which are much better. Like the castle. The castle is drastically better in the remake. But maybe the village is better in the original. So it's up to you. But there are sections in the remake that are phenomenal, like the cabin still holds up. Like the El Gigante fights. Most of the boss fights in remake aren't great. So like Salazar is a complete mess. Sadler, I think Krauser's pretty good. The parrying with the knife really helps the Krauser fight. Yeah, it's a phenomenal game. All I need to say, go out your way and play it. It's the first game I've talked about so far. I would give a 10 out of 10 to. 60, oh goodness me, 61, and I platinum that on the 5th, on the 15th of April, which was about 3 weeks after, that's incredible, 3 weeks after I platinumed Shredder's Revenge. So yeah, incredible game, absolutely love it. 61, Sackboy Big Adventure, 8th of May 2023. This one was about a month later because, again, there was a trio of us playing this game and we had to all get together to play it. And Sackboy is it's a very good game with one great aspect, which I'll talk about in a minute. I really like the fact you can dress Sackboy in different PlayStation characters. So I kept switching mine from looking like Ellie or Abby or Freya or Atreus or Ratchet or Clank or whatever. Really like the fact you can dress Sackboy up. I really like the Knitted Night Trials. I think they're the best part of the game. They're a real challenge, and me and my friends, when playing them, almost were challenging each other to see who could best them. The final Knitted Night Trial was a nightmare, and I very fortunately didn't even have to actually beat it, as my friend got to the end, invited me to his game, and so I got the trophy that way for completing that one, which I'm very grateful for, and he will never let me live it down. I do think that the game goes on a bit, like it is a bit long. Like the story's okay and it fits this like cool sort of almost semi Pixar movie thing. Like it's kind of cool, but the game actually does go on a bit. And it is a very pretty game as well. I should also say, very pretty game. And I'm very happy I played it. It's not the best platform I've ever played, not the best Little Big Planet game I've ever played, but it is still very good. 62, we moved on to Cult of the Lamb. This was another about a month gap from the 8th of May 2023 for Sackboy to the 2nd of June 2023 for Cult of the Lamb. So Cult of the Lamb I got as a birthday gift in May of that year, and I was really excited for this. I've seen people platinum Cult of the Lamb before, and I was very excited for it, and it looked like my sort of game. And it is great. It's a really, really fun sort of roguelike, kind of roguelike, but sort of much more accessible. Like anyone can play Call of the Lamb. And the combat's really fun. The weapons, I really like the axe and the hammer, but most people don't like the axe and the hammer. Most people like the daggers and stuff. I really like the axe and the hammer. Maybe it's just me. Just for pure damage on bosses. Um, so the combat's really fun. What you're there for though is the building your cult thing. And I called all of my different animals after countries. So I had Iraq or Afghanistan, or I had Ethiopia, I had Brazil, I had Costa Rica, and I had England and Scotland and all these different countries. And it's great, and making your followers fall in love with you, and becoming this cult-like figure, sacrificing them eventually is great. The actual trophies for this are mostly pretty simple. There's nothing too hard. Beating bosses without taking a hit is the only real challenge. My way around that was to use the Golden Fleece, which every time you get a kill, you get a score, a damage multiplier. So basically, I just went through a dungeon, did not take a hit, and then was at like 200% damage multiplier on a boss, and so they die relatively quickly. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed Cult of the Lamb. I like the aesthetic as well. Very pretty game. And the cult, I wish I had a Teddy of the cult. It's kind of one of the things I am missing that I would quite like. He would probably sit next to Cubo as like terrifying beings. 63. So, I've talked about this before. Tales from the Borderlands. This was the platinum that got away. So the reason this game originally did not, I wasn't able to platinum it was because the physical versions trophies did not work, basically. So what I did was I just bought the digital and just played it, and I'm so grateful I did because it is such a funny game. It's so good. It is one of Telltale's best games, and I actually recommend um, everyone plays it. Like, it's one of my favourite Telltale games, maybe just behind Wolf Among Us and The Walking Dead. It's brilliant, it's funny. Reese and Fiona and Sasha, they're all great characters that do go into further Borderlands lore or media. It's great. I don't really want to spoil it. It's such a story heavy game, but yeah, it's got a phenomenal ending. The ending's great. Um, yeah, it's great. I'm not going to talk about Tales from Borderlands too much, but it is great. And I platinumed that on the 22nd of June, so about 20 days after Call of the Lamb, which is quite the jump, strangely. And then 64 was the first wrestling game I've ever platinumed, AEW Fight Forever. So, as you know, I'm a big AEW fan, and so when the game was announced, I didn't actually pre-order it, but I did literally get it the day after. And Fight Forever is really good, and it's really good in sort of the way it harkens back to a No Mercy or WrestleMania 2000, or even like a Warzone. It isn't perfect. It's rough around the edges. Its content isn't great. Like, it doesn't have a lot of match types. I mean, some of the match types it has there are great, like exploding barbed wire death and lights out and ladder matches and stuff. But ladder matches, for example, can only be single, mainly. And then it's weird because they've done so many Face of the Revolution ladder matches, so you think they'll do like 8-person ladder matches. The Road to Elite mode is good fun the first couple of times, but eventually you realise there's only 4 storylines for each. No, there's only 2 storylines or 3 storylines per month per pay per view. So, Revolution, All In, All Out, Double or Nothing, Full Gear. So that's a bit of a bummer. But it's good fun. I enjoy the game. I enjoy wrestling as like characters you would never have wrestled as before. So like Brian Cage and I'm trying to think who I would have done Road to Elite with. I did one as Omega. I did one as the first one I did was MJF when my friend came over when we were talking about how excited we were for All In 2023, which is crazy how long ago that was. So yeah, MJF and yeah, it's a fun game. It's a fun game. It is not perfect and it's not really. It's not got the most amount of content. But it is still a fun wrestling game, and I'm happy I platinumed it. And the platinum for it was not like a cake, but there was nothing hard in it. Like, you had to beat a Road to Elite mode on Elite difficulty, but I got relatively good at it anyway. So, like, I did that one as Omega, and just won every single match because I was trying to get a couple of trophies. I was trying to get a trophy for getting like 150,000 score in a Road to Elite career and trying to win 4 belts or whatever like that. So, yeah. So that was really, really that was fun doing that. Actually, doing that sort of imposed challenge on yourself. It was a good game. It's a good game. And then we moved into it. So that was on the 16th of July, 2023. And then we moved into a strange one on the 25th of July, Cars 3 Driven to Win. Oh my gosh. Cars 3. Oh god, right. Cars 3 is a good racing game. It is a good racing game if you just want to play it and finish it. If you want to complete it and platinum it, like I did, oh my god. This was the worst thing. One of the worst choices I think I've made. Like, Cars 3 is a fun game, and it's only got 21 trophies, and a lot of them are absolutely pieces of cake. There's a Townsville sort of playground mode where you drive around and collect mates' hats, and that eventually unlocks him, and that's fine. But the most tedious part of Cars 3 are the skill checks. And these are 300 individual things that you have to achieve. You can achieve multiple in a race, but they're individual things you have to achieve throughout your career. And there is a trophy called Career Veteran or something like that. Trophy Career, I think. And it's for completing the checklist. And this was. I mean, look, the game was only like. I think the game only took me 21 hours, but it's a cars game? Like, I don't know what possessed me. Look, I did it. It's actually a very fun game, but it did go on a bit. And yeah, as far as Pixar games go, it's probably one of Pixar's best games. I'd probably argue. Up there with Toy Story 3. But yeah, so that was platinumed um on the 25th of July, as I said. And then we moved into the summer of 2023, which is where we're going to be getting a couple of games, I believe. So, the first game, which was platinum number 66, was NieR Automata. So, we've got a story about NieR Automata. On the 7th of August 2023 is when I platinumed this. NieR Automata. So, my fiance bought this for me as a anniversary gift after recommendations from my friends who had all played it and said it was absolutely grand. And I noticed, if anybody watches, a good friend, a good YouTuber of mine, Adam McDermott, who does Platinum Journey, and I asked him a question on his 30k subscriber video about NieR Automata, and he was like, basically my question was, my fiance bought me NieR Automata for an anniversary gift, what would you say was good about it, or something like that. And I'll never forget it because I sent the video of him talking about me to my fiance. He's like, your fiance got you NieR Automata for your birthday. She's a keeper, and so she's never going to let me live that down. And so I'm forever going to be NieR Automata guy to Adam McDermott. So NieR Automata, I don't know why I'm looking at the phone. NieR Automata is a great game. I'm actually currently playing another game very similar to NieR Automata. I will not spoil it for you, but you can probably guess what it is. It's a very similar game. So Nier Automata is a great game. Great story. The combat is kind of more style than substance. Like there isn't that much to it really. But the story and the world and the characters are what you're there for. 2B is a great character. 9S can be a bit annoying, and A2 is mostly a good character. The game is so morbid though. Like you are literally morbid, sad. That's all I can think of. Sad for so much of Nier Automata. There is so much sadness in that game, and even when you finish the game, it's still sad. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's morbid. So if you want some sadness in your life, please play Nier Automata. It's a great game. Probably my favourite games of 2017. 67, we moved into a much happier game, which we needed after Nier Automata. Persona 4 Dancing All Night. So I've platinumed Persona 3 Dancing and Persona 5 Dancing. So decided to just get 4 done. 4, though, has a story mode. And that story mode is actually decent. It does go on a bit, like the cutscenes, because it's just like visual novel style cutscenes. They're really boring, but the actual story's okay. I like what it's about. I like kind of being with these characters again and being with Rise and Yuko and Kanji again. And the dancing's pretty fun and the music's great because it's Persona 4's music. So, and that platinum of Persona 4, which I platinumed on 16th of August, so 9 days after Nier Automata, that platinum actually would inspire me to platinum another game in that series a couple down the road, which we'll talk about in a minute. 68 was Twisted Metal. This was just the PS1 game. I just wanted like a short platinum. And weirdly, this one actually did take me quite a while. Like, this one was platinumed on the 30th of September 2023, which was, over a month after Dancing All Night on 16th of August. And it was for the rewind feature. If I didn't have it, I'd be so screwed. Like, I'd be garbage at that game. Is fun. You have to beat the game with every character, but I just used the cheat code to get to the last level and then just beat the boss with that character. It was fine. It was fine. And then we moved into platinum number 69. So this is a special platinum because it's the first platinum that I've got since having my dog. So Ellie, my beautiful doggy, yes, it is. Yeah. So Ellie, who is my doggy, she's my little miniature Dachshund. She is now a year and a half, and in October, on October the 20th, the same day Spider-Man 2 came out, Ellie came into my life, and she's been with me and my fiance Sherelle ever since, and we love her to bits. And A Plague Tale: Innocence, which is platinum number 69, is important to me because it was the first platinum I got with the dog. The dog sat with me, she sits on my lap, she sits behind me. She usually sits with my fiance. But that's why A Plague Tale is going to be such a special one for me. And it's actually a very good game. I think A Plague Tale's got a very good story. The bond between Anicia and Hugo is pretty good. The combat I enjoyed more than most people, and I actually found it quite interesting getting around scenarios in completely different ways, like using the fire or bringing the rats in to eat the knights or something like that. The boss fights were fairly fun. The final boss fight was really good. And collectibles wise, there wasn't that many, so it wasn't that bad. It's less than 20-hour platinum. I will get to Requiem at some point, but I've heard very sad things, so not really looking forward to that. And then we get into Platinum 70, which means we've got 5 left after this one. Platinum 70, a milestone of 70, a 10. And so I wanted it to be a special game, and it was going to be Persona 4 Golden. Playing Dancing All Night had reinvigorated my love for the investigation team, and so I just decided to play Golden again. I played Golden. I think I played Golden actually straight after Dancing All Night, because that's why there's such a big gap. Yeah, I think it is that. Between that and Twisted Metal, because I was playing Golden upstairs. So I played Golden, and then I platinumed it, as said, on November the 18th. So 12 days after platinuming A Plague Tale. And the platinum's requirements are just like completing the what do you call it? The compendium. Got there in the end. Completing the compendium, beating Margaret on your New Game Plus, maxing all social links, and things like that. And I had to see Nanako in hospital because that's something I hadn't done apparently. And Persona 4 Golden is an absolutely wonderful game. I've actually reviewed it on my blog. Please check it out. I will pop a link to my blog in the description. But yeah, I love Persona 4 Golden. I'm not going to talk about it forever, but it is one of my favourite special games. It's a super special game. And those characters like Kanji and Yukiko, I love so much. They're just the best. So that was Persona 4 Golden, Platinum number 70. 71 was a PS2 game in Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus, which I actually played the PS3 version about a month before the PS5 version came out. But my friends actually had, I've actually had his copy of the Sly trilogy on PS3 for about 3 years, so I really did need to start playing them. And Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus was kind of fun. I liked the levels like that, which are basically almost like Crash Bandicoot levels, more than the open world kind of Spyro ones. So I don't know how I'm going to feel about 2 and 3, but I'll see when I get there eventually. But yeah, I enjoyed Sly Cooper. I don't really have that much to say about it. The boss fights, some of them were good, some of them weren't. And then you just had to collect all the clue balls. So yeah, fairly self-explanatory. 72, and that was, by the way, that was on the 26th. So it was 8 days. 25th, sorry. I played a lot of games on 25th. So 8 days after Persona 4 Golden. 72, BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, the 9th of December 2023. So, this one was interesting. I needed a lot of online help for this. I needed to, and there was a guy who very gratefully helped me online with he basically shared screen and did me like some combo drills and stuff, and I beat the stories in BlazBlue and stuff like that. BlazBlue, if you don't know, is a fighting game series that brings a bunch of series together. So there's Under Night in Birth, there's Persona 4 Arena, there's Ruby, and there's BlazBlue. And it's a fun little fighting game. I really like the way it looks and the aesthetic of BlazBlue. The combat, I'm probably more just a Mortal Kombat guy. I don't think I'm going to be good enough at fighting games to play a game like BlazBlue. But it was still fun. The story, I had no idea what was going on. But it was fun while it lasted. And yeah, took me. It wasn't too bad. In the end, it took me probably about 10-15 hours, maybe. And it was fun. And then we moved into a super long game at number 73, which was Fallout New Vegas, a game I've just wanted to replay for a long time. So the BlazBlue Platinum was on the 9th of December, and Fallout New Vegas was on the 7th of January, so it actually only took me like a month to Platinum New Vegas. About 90 hours, 80 hours, and most of it was just spent exploring the Mojave Desert and just enjoying New Vegas, enjoying all the companions from Raul to Veronica, to Boone to Lily to Rex to Edie, and then enjoying all the content quests. So doing the NCR quests, doing the Legion quests, doing Mr. House's quest, and then doing Yes Man's quest, and essentially becoming your own ruler of New Vegas. And then doing stuff like all the gambling, which I'd never really done before. I'd never really gone into the casinos and played blackjack until you got kicked out of every casino. I eventually got into Caravan a little bit, which is the card game where you need to make 21 with 3 cards, I believe. And that was good fun. And it's just the quests are terrific. Like, there's so many great quests. Come Fly With Me, Return to Sender. So much great content in New Vegas, and you can just enjoy it and explore it forever. I did not play the DLC. Maybe at some point. But currently the DLC is like £8 each. So that's like a lot. So if I ever find just a cheap copy of the Ultimate Edition, I'll just buy that and then play through the DLCs and you're probably just about 100% them, wouldn't you? Yeah. But yeah, it's a terrific game. This is probably the only other game so far that I've talked about. And Golden that I'd give a 10 out of 10 to. So Resident Evil Remake, Persona 4 Golden, and Fallout New Vegas. Just phenomenal games. And then 74 was a game that wasn't quite as good, but it was very long, and it was Persona 5 Tactica. I got this while I was in Meadowall Christmas shopping, the previous year in 2023, and Tactica's like Tactica's a good game that is way too long. Like, your initial playthrough of Persona 5 Tactica is going to be like 50 hours, and it does not need to be that. The first dungeon's about 25 hours, and it's like, where's the rest of the game? Like, I was very confused when the first dungeon was 25 levels of the, I don't know, 55. Like, it was crazy. But the combat is good. I really like the sort of XCOM style combat in Tactica and how you get knockdowns and you knock people out of cover and that's how you get. And you all out attacks, you basically form a triangle around people. It's really good. The actual spin on Persona's formula is fantastic. And I really like the chibi art style as well. I did not enjoy the cutscenes though. Again, that visual novel, back and forth, did nothing for me. As someone who doesn't like reading because he's got bad vision, it did not enjoy doing all that reading. I could get away with it more in Royal, I think, because I know that eventually I'm going to get some spoken dialogue. And then the actual platinum requirements weren't too bad. I did have to go into a New Game Plus and get very far into it to unlock 2 or 3 personas, which was kind of annoying. I had to get, I think there were 58 levels, and I had to get to level 53, so quite far into it. So it probably took me around 65, 70 hours to platinum. But it was fine. There wasn't anything missable, I don't think. But just doing all the challenges, or just doing every mission, every side mission, making sure you got enough knockdowns with each character's specific attacks, so fire for Arn or nuclear for Makoto or whatever. But yeah, it was a good game that was just way too long, and that really damaged the platinum experience for me. And that moved into Platinum 75, where we're going to end this first half of this video. Who knows when the second half will go up? Hopefully next week. Fingers crossed. But Platinum 75, I should also say, Tactical was platinumed on January the 29th, so 22 days after Fallout New Vegas. And the final platinum of this video was Platinum 75, which is a special one on PSN Profiles, and so it was going to be Metal Gear Solid as part of the Master Collection. One of my favourite games of all time, one of my favourite stories of all time, and so I'm going to break down my platinum journey in 2 goes. The first half of my platinum journey for Metal Gear Solid was lovely because it was just... There's only 19 trophies. And the first half of the game, of the platinum journey, is just play the game. Just play the game at your own pace and beat the bosses. You get a trophy for every boss. I think the standout bosses are Vulcan Raven, Cyborg Ninja, obviously Psycho Mantis, and the Rex fight, which I got very good at. I got surprisingly good at the Rex fight, which I did not think would happen because I've always been very bad at it. So, the first half of the experience was lovely. You get a trophy for receiving either the Infinite Ammo bandana or the stealth camo. I, on my initial playthrough, resisted the torture, so escaped with Meryl. Because I thought for one of the trophies it would be easier to accept the torture and give up. So I got the trophy for the Infinite Ammo bandana, which Meryl gives you, obviously. So I was like, most of the way there. You get 1 trophy for beating a single VR mission. Okay, great. So I did that. And then the grind begins. There is a trophy for beating all 300 VR missions. Most of these VR missions are just a training version and then the actual timed version. So really it's more like 150, but these things go on forever. This platinum took me from January the 29th to the 3rd of March. This took me over a month to do, and it was horrible. I tried to do, my goal in mind was I'm going to do 20 VR missions a day and just go for it. Sometimes I'd do more, sometimes I'd do less. Some of them would be a pain, some of them wouldn't. And I eventually got there, and that trophy was done, and that was easily one of the worst trophies I've ever had to do. I hated the VR trophy. I will never touch another Metal Gear Solid game's platinum because of the VR trophies, apart from 3, because 3 doesn't have VR trophies. So with that out of the way, the last remaining trophy, realistically, was to get a big box or Fox rank. And to do this, you had to beat the game on hard, with no alerts and all these things, I believe. So there is a way around this. Basically, there's a French version, and you play that version, and so the game's much easier, and you do that. And then the final trophy I was actually missing was you have to take a picture of Kojima in the game and exercise it on the main menu. So I took a picture in the game, although I needed to backtrack to actually collect the camera. And then I went to the main menu, exercised the picture, and I had achieved my 75th Platinum trophy, and a big one in one of my favourite games. Not a fun experience, though. Not fun. 10 out of 10 game, only the 4th 10 out of 10 game, in my opinion, of these games. You may disagree. But yeah, still an excellent game, just the experience, man. Those VR missions. If it's 35 hours, 20 hours is VR missions, like, well, maybe 15 or 10. But yeah, crazy stuff. Some of those are horrendous, and 75. So that is where we are going to stop for now. Platinum number 75 on Metal Gear Solid on March the 3rd. The 3rd? The 3rd. 2024. There is 25 other platinums on the way to Platinum 100, which hopefully I'll talk about in a part 2 very, very soon. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Rob Ocelot. Like, comment, subscribe for more. Tell me your thoughts. What did you think to all these games I've platinumed? Have you platinumed any of these games? Would you like to platinum any of these games? And is there anything I missed regarding the platinums for these games? Fingers crossed episode 2 gets up soon. And fingers crossed I could also do another episode of pay-per-view flashbacks soon. But I guess, guys, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. This has been Revolver Brosova.